All right, we're live on the Eagle's Nest. We're kind of playing around with some stuff, so we're going to be covering a bunch of different things. Monday night is usually the night that we do the Eagle's Nest, which is tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific. We're going to have we've changed networks a little bit, so we have some different phone numbers when you call in, and so make sure you take note of that. Anybody wanting to call in tonight and talk to us on the line, the new number is going to be 713-955-0158, and then dial a 1 to get to us, and we'll go from there. Tonight we're going to be covering, by the way, I'm Sherman Tank. This is Do Stuff, or Ryan, whatever you want to call me.
Whatever you want to call me.
We're going to be covering a little bit about the Supreme Court nomination with Kavanaugh, and we're going to be covering some other stuff, medical training, CPR. The reason we're going to cover CPR a little bit is because we actually had an incident this weekend, and it came into play, and want to kind of give you an idea how that went. Also, we're going to be getting here on the Eagle's Nest, we're going to be getting back into more prepper-related topics and less political stuff. I think the political side of things has kind of run a little bit of its course. And I mean, how much more stuff can you say than what we've already seen? We already know that the left has gone completely nuts. The thing is our shows are based on viewership, and we want to try and get as many people in as possible. And the thing is for us to do that, we have to bridge the gap. And we're being in the 3% movement and being in preppers and things like that. We need to be playing things a little bit more down the middle. Now, we also want to make sure that the stuff that's going on stays constitutional, and that's the political side of things that we will be covering is all pro-Constitution stuff. So right versus left is not really something we need to be covering anyway. We see it, we know what's going on, and as far as the political affiliations and things like that, I will do separate videos to push that kind of stuff out there. So anyway, let's get going on the Supreme Court. The reason we're going to push that tonight is because it definitely affects the Constitution. And, most of the time, we want to make sure that the Constitution is upheld as it's written, not that it's getting changed around all the damn time, and, things put into place to push other political agendas.
Sure.
So with that said, tonight was his official swearing in at the White House. He was sworn in Saturday after he was confirmed, and it ended up being a pretty swift. It was close, but it was a pretty swift victory after all the crap that was said about him. And I don't think we could really ask for anybody any better for the Constitution as far as someone that's going to follow it. But with that said, he is also one of the authors of the Patriot Act. So I think one of the things that most of us in the Patriot movement were really paying attention to is his stance on the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. His stance on the Second Amendment. He had voted at one time to basically say that concealed carry was not a right. Well, I look at it like, he can give you his opinion too. But I look at it like the Second Amendment covers everything to do with guns.
Yes.
Okay. So
I agree.
I think CCWs. I think personally, that you should be able to. And again, it says in the Second Amendment, it basically says we have a right to guns. We have a right to be able to defend ourselves, and that covers just about everything. So you shouldn't have to have a permit to conceal carry. You shouldn't have to have any kind of permit to be able to walk around with a weapon on your side.
Yeah,
it shouldn't matter. Yeah. And the fact that he said that he's, it's not constitutional or it's not a God-given right to carry CCW. He may be correct. If you look at how that's stated, he may be correct. But it is a God-given right that we be able to carry a firearm how and whatever or however we choose.
Exactly.
Whether it's concealed or whether it's open.
Yep.
It should not matter. The Constitution states that it shall not be infringed, and that's the way it should be.
That's so. Well, all our rights shouldn't be infringed.
No rights should be
No
infringed.
rights. But there is 22,000 current gun laws on the books right now, and that should be in itself a problem because they keep adding to it, and it's just, I mean, is one more going to do anything? Is two more? It's this thing. So
Well, you know, if you look at anything that's written about the Second Amendment, okay, now, and you know, and I understand that the things in the Constitution get changed because things change in our daily lives. Okay, you know, it's not the same as it was back in 1776.
sure.
You know, things have to be changed or added to the Constitution simply because we evolve. Internet things, you know, stuff with cars, you know, anything, you know, that has anything to do with basic human rights is going to change just simply because the times
Change.
You know, the times change, and we evolve as human beings. Lots of things happen, things evolve, and you know, the internet is one of them. The way we teach our kids is another one. There's so many different things that have changed since the time period, and I'd say every 20 years, you're seeing advancements, and some of that stuff is moving faster and faster and faster down the road. So, you know, your people that are making these laws, your congressmen, the Senate, the House, those folks have to stay up on it. But the problem is it takes you know, people to make sure that everything is constitutional. That's what the Supreme Court is for. And you know, in his swearing in tonight, you know, he said it, and this is exactly the way every Supreme Court justice should be. It's not his job to make law. It's his job to interpret it out how it's written, and not to try and change it.
Yeah.
So I applaud him for that. So, you know, you can take the whole, you know, he doesn't believe that CCW is a right, and you can argue that the fact that he believes that we should be able to carry a gun no matter how we want to. So there is that.
Okay.
You know, this whole last 2 weeks has been a pretty
circus.
It's been a big circus. Yeah.
Sure
I mean, you know, and the thing that was kind of a letdown across the country is, you know, everybody was kind of bracing to see if he got confirmed how crazy the other side was going to go. A lot of people filled up their gas tanks. They made sure that they had all their prepping supplies ready,
Sure.
Just in case, especially the large cities. And nothing happened.
Go figure.
It was like a big, like someone let the wind out of the balloon.
Well, no,
you know.
there's still, they say that it's still building. Now there's threats coming into senators' wives about their kids.
Beheading
videos, so forth. They're threatening to, you know, whatever. They're threatening physical harm to people that all they did was vote. But there you go.
Well, you know, and that's the thing is, you know, whenever it comes down to the fact that, you know, you have to prep and you know, being in a prepper group, of course, you make sure that you do disasters. You prepare for disasters, and
Sure.
you know, you could consider, you know, political, whatever the hell you want to call this, divisiveness, whatever, and that could be considered a disaster because if you get groups of people that are trying to take over cities, meaning a giant riot, whatever, you know, that's a disaster. So you got to be prepared for that. And in certain different disasters, you have to be prepared differently. With that said, we've seen something that happened this weekend. We actually, my group, 3% Nation and United Patriots, along with CVP, went to a car show that's held out here in the town that I live in every year. And it's always been a great place to go out and talk to people and check out the cars and just have a great weekend. And at the end of the car show, we had a gentleman that we had helped load his truck up. He was right next to the booth. He was right in the booth next to us. He was an older guy, about 71, I think is what he was. And it was pretty hot. It was like 80, 85 degrees out there all day long. And, you know, we didn't realize he was, you know, not feeling very well. He never mentioned nothing to us. As we were leaving, the guy, I had just pulled away. I was maybe, I don't know, half a block away or so. And I got a phone call from my wife. She was behind us in another vehicle. and said, come back. The guy next to us is having a heart attack. Well, two people in my group, one noticed him going down. That was Lauren. He didn't think that he was doing very well, and he kind of alerted everybody. The second one was Crystal. She jumped into action and started giving CPR to the guy, mouth to mouth and chest compressions. And she traded off with another lady there that was a nurse. And EMTs got called. They showed up. They picked him up. He was still unresponsive. They got him in the ambulance. And about halfway to the hospital, the guy came back alive. And we figured that there was probably between 10, 15 minutes where he was not breathing on his own. And actually showed that, when he went in the ambulance, he was white as a ghost. He was white as the stripes on that flag. I witnessed that myself. I witnessed them giving him chest compressions and shocking him. I had made it back before the ambulance got back, so I got to witness what was going on. And Crystal, I believe, had been recertified for CPR just a few weeks before. So that's how important that kind of stuff is. The guy survived it, and we found out later that it wasn't actually a heart attack. He was on full-blown cardiac arrest. So that's no brain function. You're not getting any oxygen to your brain, and no blood flow. So the chest compressions, keeping everything moving, and the
oxygen flowing.
Yep. And keeping
It's okay.
I just went completely stupid.
That's all right.
Doing mouth to mouth kept him
alive.
Kept him alive. And now here's another thing I want to mention. And Crystal said this, so you guys with beards, make sure you keep him trimmed, because he had a really heavy beard, and she had trouble getting a seal around his mouth to give him CPR. So just keep that in mind. If you're someone that's got heart problems, something like that, you might want to keep this part of your mouth, kind of trimmed up a little bit. But anyway, she was actually able to go and visit him in the hospital, and it was a good reunion. We went and sat with the wife on the day he got taken there, and it was pretty emotional. So CPR can save a life. We actually witnessed it in this case, and the EMT actually came out and told Crystal that basically what she had done was what saved the guy. So again, Crystal Johnson and Lauren Johnson, the guy who noticed it.
You're heroes.
You're definitely heroes in all of our books.
Good job.
So congratulations on that. And I know that you don't want to be, put out there in the spotlight and stuff like that, but you deserve the credit. And I think you're the best of us. So way to go.
Good job.
That kind of thing can happen at any time. You could get dehydrated, your body shuts down, all kinds of things happen. Mm-hmm. And, that could even happen if you get stung by a bee, things like that. So you want to, anaphylaxis. You want to make sure that you know how to do CPR, mouth to mouth. There's certain things that you can buy, the whole mouth to mouth thing. You want to, if you're worried about, diseases, things like that, they make these, they're like a dam that you can put over someone's face, and they make them to where you can carry them around on your keychain, whatever. My wife just actually ordered a couple of them. It protects you from being able to pass diseases and stuff back and forth. And, knowing how to do CPR on kids is huge, especially if you're out in the wilderness, something happens, they get bit by something, and they go out. You got to know how to listen for breath sounds, listen for heartbeats, check your pulse. That stuff is all super important. Mm-hmm. So if in most places that, you can get certified relatively cheap. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's usually a day class or maybe 2-day class, depending on what it is. I've actually taken a CPR class and first aid class. Okay. Have you got that stuff done?
Not recently.
Not recently.
I could probably use a refresher.
Yeah. It's something that I think everybody needs. And
I agree.
Definitely your medical people that are in your prepper groups or your Patriot groups definitely need to take that upon themselves. I know a lot of us have nurses that are in our groups, and I know that they do their best to try and train people.
Yes. But
at the same time, it doesn't take that much ambition or
time.
You don't need a lot of incentive to go out and learn how to do CPR. No, it's not that hard to do.
It's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of money.
And what happens if someone drowns? It's kind of the same thing. You got to know how to get their heart started again and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, if you're around water, things like that, it's an important thing to have. So we're going to continue on the prepper side of things, and we're going to kind of cover some stuff that we're going to kind of start over as far as the prepper things go. We want to always make sure that whenever you're going to be starting your prepping, there could be a lot of new people on here that want information about what to carry with them, what to stock, what to have at their house in case there's a disaster, what they can have in their vehicles if there's a disaster. I kind of look at things like you almost need a couple different bug-eye bags.
Yeah, huh?
And it really depends on what the disaster is.
Yeah.
If it ends up being a social breakdown and there's riots everywhere,
you're going to need a totally different bag than you would for earthquake.
Yes. Especially if it's an earthquake and your house isn't damaged, you're probably not going to leave your house. But social disruption, like in the major cities, things like that. If you're in an area that is stricken by that, you're probably not going to want to be there because, things are going to get destroyed. Things are going to get broken. People are going to be breaking and stealing crap.
Yep.
Unless you have, unless you have some kind of a
fortified bunker.
Yeah. Unless you got like a panic room.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's probably a good idea to get the hell out.
Yeah. Get out. Get as far away from it as you can.
So I know San Francisco is a little different. Oakland's way different than where I live. And anything can happen. I mean, you could even have earthquakes and stuff like that in those cities. But, the social breakdown, the way the political climate's been going, is a little bit more likely. Yeah. And it seems to be getting worse. Yeah.
It's escalating.
So, Ryan, for your family, you got what, 3 kids?
I got 3 kids and a wife. Yeah.
So kind of fill us in how you prepare yourself.
What I keep on hand, boxes, MREs, water purification tablets, extra water, IFAC, first aid kit, keep everything in there you would typically need, along with tourniquets and gauze, Band-Aids. Drugs are good for infection. What else? Rope, tape, guns. Guns are a must. You all know that. Knives are good. And different knives have different applications, so it's always good to have some, couple different ones. Ammunition. What else?
If you're in an area that like a mountainous area, things like that, you think that you're going to have to leave, things like that, might be a good idea, especially if you got a lake around you or anything like that. Make sure that you got a fishing pole.
Yeah,
fishing line, fishing lures.
Yes, lures are good. That's great.
Something you can use to feed yourself with if you're away from your place for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I know I spent 7 years in Alaska, and you don't go out in the bush unless you're carrying all kinds of stuff. A tent, it's a good idea to have a 2-man tent, something that packs up real easy. You can get a hammock that keeps you off the ground, keeps you out of the bugs, and it keeps the critters off of you. Except for raccoons, they like to climb in those things. So
keep a trap handy, and you can catch them and eat them.
I don't know about eat a raccoon.
Eat anything. I eat my damn dog if I have to. I eat anything. If it comes down to it, you'll eat anything.
That's true.
I've told my wife already. I mean, we got a cat. I said that thing would be dinner if need be. Anything's possible.
Barbecue Fifi.
Yeah, I'll eat the damn cat. I don't care.
And that's the thing you got to look at. You got to look at what you have to find a way to be as comfortable as you can away from your house for God knows how long.
Yep.
And so everybody's going to have to gauge what they're going to need. Like with me, I have my wife, I have my mother-in-law, I have a bunch of pets. My mother-in-law has a seeing eye dog, so we'd have to accommodate that. That would help her get around if we got
probably keep her calm too.
It would probably keep her calm.
Yeah.
Because they can alert us and alert her on whether or not there's presence of other people.
Sure.
It gets excited just like any other regular dog does. So, our cats, I would probably just open the door and let them out. Cats have a natural tendency to be able to survive on their own.
Yeah, they can eat whatever
in certain things. but you really got to think, down the line. What are you going to need?
I would assume that people would want to, for the things in their area, like here, we don't have to worry about hurricanes, tornadoes,
Right.
things of that nature. We don't need to worry about. But in your area, that's something that may be pretty frequent. Here, our big thing is social breakdown and earthquakes. That's about it. I mean, other than that, once in a while we get minor flooding. We get fires sometimes, but I mean, usually it's earthquakes and just our social setting that we worry about.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And from where we live out north of San Francisco, so we're
60 miles.
Yeah, we're 60 miles north of San Francisco. So even if an earthquake were to hit San Francisco, it's not going to devastate us like it does them.
Well, we don't have the big buildings either.
Yeah, we don't have skyscrapers and crap that's going to fall all over the place.
No, we don't have bridges that are going to.
Right. We did have an earthquake a few years ago out in Napa, and some buildings did fall down. I don't know. Was there anybody killed in that earthquake? I don't remember.
There was nobody killed, but one kid got crushed by a falling
a window or something.
No, it was a fireplace.
Okay.
The bricks came down.
Oh, okay.
But he broke his back and his legs, but he's okay now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep in mind anything that's brick is going to shift. In this case, it shifted and fell. So
and 89. That's when we had the big one.
Now, what did that affect out here? I wasn't here at that time.
So it affected everything. I believe I was a teenager when it happened, and it happened when I got back from school. I was outside and I thought I was seeing stuff because the telephone poles were going like this. I thought it was just me, and I asked my friend. I said, "Is that really happening?" He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "That." And he said, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "So we were next to a field. We went out into a field, watched everything. Went back in. We turned on the TV. TV didn't work. And then they got broadcasting going. Bay Bridge that completely smashed. I don't know how many people, but it's 2 layers to it. It fell down. Overpasses fell down. Buildings crumbled. There was fires because of gas lines. There was people trapped for, I believe, all the way up to a week.
Yeah.
In some places.
They made movies off of it.
Yeah. There's movies and stuff, but I mean, these are things that can happen
in a blink of a second.
In a blink of a second, you're stuck. If you were trapped in your apartment, what would you do? If you were trapped in your car, what would you do? What would you do? I mean, and there's nothing really. I mean, you can't prepare for everything, but it's good to at least prepare for what you think could happen.
And then you got to make the decision whether or not you're going to bug in or bug out.
Exactly.
Okay? And in the larger cities, like I said, social breakdown, more than likely you're probably going to bug out. You don't want to be there because there's going to be large mobs of people.
Yep.
In an area like we were at, your better option maybe to bug in. I have upstairs in my house. I can kind of view the entire street from where I'm at, and I know my neighbors. I know that they're not going to go out and go, batshit crazy. The good thing about like in a small town like we're in, I can literally block the streets with my vehicles. They can do the same thing. So you know the routes in and out of your neighborhood. It's different in a large city because you're going to have, for one, you're going to have more cops.
Yep.
2, if there's crime,
a lot of crime.
And if there's ever going to be martial law implemented for any kind of reason, it's going to happen in the major cities.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think we all kind of understand that that's probably a good idea right now, especially in cities like Chicago.
Yeah, we need to. I think we need to bring back just the Constitution. And
I mean, start hanging the traitors that we know are traitors to the United States.
It's treason.
It is.
It is basic common treason. If you know the Constitution, you know that what they're doing is treason. Anything against our Constitution is treason. If you
it's written in the Constitution.
Exactly.
Anything that goes against it is treason.
It is treason. It's punishable by death. That seems pretty straightforward to me.
And it doesn't cost anything, other than a piece of rope or a 25-cent bullet. That may sound kind of harsh.
It's not harsh.
But to some people it's going to sound harsh. But
you go back to the day the Constitution was written. If you would have spoke anything that was even treasonous, they'd kill you in a heartbeat.
Yep.
You were just as bad as witch hunting. I mean, they would just take you out, and that was that. They would hang you, and they would have a party.
Well, the hanging would be the party.
Exactly. I mean, I just don't understand why that's so hard for people to understand. Yeah.
Well, you know, and that's the thing is, if you look at the way that the country's broke down, you know, you got your strict constitutionalists, you got your communists and your socialists and all this other stuff. And, you know, the thing is, and most people don't understand, is they are prepping just like we are. They are. I'm telling you right now, dude. I've been following a bunch of different things. They are prepping just as much as we are.
The difference.
The only thing different is
the training for. I mean, you've seen them standing in the woods. They're all holding up their fists, and it's like, you know, you got to laugh because what kind of training are you going to do in your Abercrombie, you know, sweater? Yeah,
yes and no, but you know, at the same time, these people have the funding.
They do have funding, but the knowledge is not there.
Well, yeah, and the strength and you know. I don't know. It's one of those things that they're prepping for some of the same things we are. I've actually spoken to several different people on the other side that are prepping for disasters, just like we are. They may not do as well in a Civil War type scenario as they will in a disaster type, like earthquake type scenario, but they're still doing it nonetheless. And you know, as constitutionalists, which if you're constitutionalist, you're for every man, woman, and child in this country that is an American citizen.
What about that's against the Constitution?
Well, then that's a decision that you make. But that's something, you know, if you're going to be a prepper and you're going to be taking over an area to live, whatever, that's whenever that would come into play. You'd have to make sure that, you know,
play your hand your dealt.
You know what side of the fence everybody's going to be on and how helpful those people will be.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna cover some supplies.
Oh, I like supplies.
So one of the things, or some of the things that we look for as far as like your medical bag, things you should have on hand if you're gonna do. Are you swatting the flies or what? I'm watching your video. You're kind of doing this.
I don't know. I'm talking. We just can't see each other or can't hear anything, so it looks like I'm swatting flies.
This is lagging too.
Yeah, so we're lagging over there, so it looks like I'm swatting flies with no sound.
So medical, as far as the medical supplies go, make sure you got your medical, make sure you got your medicine, that if you take it every day, make sure you got plenty of that on hand. Painkillers, if you had surgeries and you didn't use all your painkiller, make sure you throw that in your bug out bag. Supplies like tourniquets, bandages, again, the CPR, if you need the mouth stuff, if you're worried about giving CPR to somebody,
Band-Aids, gauze,
you know, there's all kinds of different things. You got chest seals. You can have in case you're worried about getting shot. You can order most of the stuff you can order on Amazon. You can pick a lot of stuff up at your dollar store. Doesn't cost much to stock a medical kit.
eBay's great. You can go on there and get full kits put together for particular scenarios. Really cheap. I got a lot of mine on there.
Yeah, Petey just had surgery. The guy just commented, and I'm sure he's got plenty of painkillers after some of the stuff he's been through. So, yeah, save them, Petey. Don't get rid of those.
Yeah, don't use them all. You may need them again someday.
I've got stuff from. I've had 4 surgeries on my hand and another surgery for gallbladder. So I've got all kinds of painkillers that I never took. I think maybe I've taken like 1 day's worth of each thing, and I get something every time I have a surgery. So, you know, you can save that stuff back. Expiration dates don't necessarily mean that they're bad. Keep that in mind. Make sure you got aspirin, stuff that is antibiotic, you know, stuff that can bring down fevers. Because if you're out in the woods long enough, eventually you're going to catch something and you can get sick. And this is I'm kind of looking at like the Walking Dead scenario. You know, if you're out, you're walking around and you're in the middle of nowhere, you know, things can happen. You could get bit by something.
You could eat a mushroom.
You could be tripping balls.
You could do whatever.
You got to know how to take care of that. And the people around you, you need to trust them to be able to help you.
Hey, man, eat some of these mushrooms.
Okay, so that kind of covers some of the medical stuff. It's not everything. Make sure, what the hell is that stuff called? There's some
penicillin?
No, there's some stuff that you can put any wound to help seal it. It's I have a bag of it in my living room. I can't think of the name.
Bag of sugar.
No, it's Celox. Celox is really good for closing up a wound. It does burn the area, but it also stops bleeding. So that's something, you know, you want in your bug out bag. We'll move on to food. Okay, so food. Make sure your food, you got good food storage. The stuff that you have, make sure it's sealed. It's not open because it will expire, and it can also get bacteria built up in it. It can make you sick.
Don't store it in a humid, hot area. If you have a nice, cool, dry place, that's where to put it.
And if you're prepping and you're taking care of, like, you're holding like flour, beans, things like that, make sure that it's in Mylar bags. Make sure that you got something in there that's going to keep it dry. Silica packets. They make yes. Things that you can get on Amazon. They keep everything as dry as possible.
Yeah, it sucks in the moisture.
And anytime that you get into those things, make sure you wash your hands, and you reseal them up, and you put in new silica packets or the things that take the moisture out of them. Because if you don't, what happens is they'll get infiltrated by bacteria, and down the road you'll end up getting sick eating this stuff. Yeah. So you want to try and have some of the you want to have things that's going to keep giving you energy. One of the things with the military is they have the MREs, and most of that stuff is protein.
Yes.
And if you've ever ate MREs in the military, it does a couple things. For one, you can't crap. No. I mean, it blocks you up, but it keeps the nutrients in your body.
Yes.
And it's easy to make. Usually it's, you mix it with water.
Yeah.
So you want to keep water on hand.
A little heating thing in there, and it's pretty self-explanatory.
And some of the stuff's actually not bad. I have 5 boxes of MREs here at the house.
Stay away from the eggs.
The powdered eggs.
The eggs suck. Yeah. If you can go with anything like the chili and mac and stuff like that. That's
only eat the eggs if you have to crap. If you need to crap, then you can eat the
eggs suck.
Make sure you put enough salt on them.
Yeah. Pepper,
and
Tabasco.
That's something else too. As well as your food, make sure that you put some stuff in there that may help it taste better, because nobody wants to eat something that tastes like crap. It could be ketchup packets, salt. You can put little pouches of each kind of thing in there.
Tabascos. They got the little Tabascos.
And you can put them in Ziploc baggies. You can put them whatever you want to. And they'll fit in a bug out bag, or they'll fit in a box that you can throw with you.
Just a condiment bag.
But you want to try and, take stuff that you're going to eat. It's important that you eat. If you get stuff that you don't want to eat, it's going to be hard to choke it down. So put things in there that's going to make it tasty. Sugar, for certain things is a good idea. But keep in mind, sugar does kind of drain you. You end up having a sugar high, and then you crash.
Yes.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Sugar in small doses.
Mainline it.
And then we're gonna move on from food. You want to make sure your vegetables. You want, and you can get dehydrated vegetables. Stuff that it just got to that point where I was giving you crap about the flies.
Yeah. You're doing it now.
It's on that video. We're trying to watch the video so I can see comments on the side, so bear with me. Anyway, you want to keep stuff that's nutritious in your bug out bags, and not all of it's going to taste good, but you want to try and keep a mix of stuff that's going to keep your energy level up, because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, anything that you have in a bug out bag is going to weigh it down.
Yep.
So dehydrated foods are going to be light. You're not going to be carrying cans of corn. You're not going to be carrying cans of green beans. So that stuff adds weight to everything. So you want to dehydrate things if you can.
Yes.
All right. So we'll move on from food. The next thing would be transportation. You want to make sure that whatever vehicle you have is ready to go. I have 2 Jeeps. Actually, I have 3 Jeeps. The third one's in process of getting fixed and getting worked on, or in my terms, just sitting in my driveway, not doing anything. But keep in mind that you need to have room for the stuff that you're going to take if you have to leave. And it's a good idea to keep your gas tank half full.
Yeah.
Because you never know how far you're going to have to go.
Yeah.
And if there's say we get hit by an EMP by a country or whatever, you're not going to be able to fill your gas tank up. No. Because the pumps ain't going to work.
They're all digital.
Exactly.
Electric.
Yeah. So keep in mind that certain things are going to affect your transportation, how you're going to get to where you're going to go.
Yep.
And if you got something that's being held together with duct tape and baling wire, it may not be able to go over it may not be able to go down a dirt road that's got a lot of bumps.
Yeah.
So, and typically, if you're going to bug out, you're going to want to get as far away from the normal people.
Yeah.
I say that as a bad thing. You're going to want to get away from normal people as much as possible, so that you're not going to be involved in some of the crap that goes on.
You should have said treasonous people.
Okay, treasonous people.
We are normal people.
Well, we're the ones thinking.
Yes.
So transportation is a big thing. And it's a good idea to keep a definitely, no matter where you're at, keep a medical bag in your car or your truck or whatever it is you got.
Yep.
Because you never know, you may be going down the road, you may get run off the road. Someone with you may have,
compound fracture.
Something. A fire extinguisher in your vehicle is a good thing to have. Again, you never know what's going to happen. Certain vehicles have a tendency to catch on fire when they get hot. So, you can use a fire extinguisher if you're out somewhere and you have to build a fire and you have to put it out real fast. So we want that kind of stuff with you.
Sure.
Now we can move on to the safety. And another thing too with vehicles, not to backtrack, but it's a good idea if you can afford it to have something that doesn't have a computer running it because of the EMP possibility. If you've got a vehicle that's got a computer, an EMP will shut it down in a heartbeat. If you got a car with a carburetor, something's not running a big computer, the worst thing that you're going to have to replace is points.
There you go.
So, keep that in mind. And if you do have one of those, it may be a good idea to store the battery in a Faraday cage. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube on showing how to make a Faraday cage. I'm not going to go into that tonight, but it's something that everybody needs to know how to do. The next thing would be water storage. Make sure that, it's a good idea to keep a couple barrels of water. You can get food storage barrels just about anywhere. Restaurants use them all the time. I know that they make barrels that you can get pickles in, and you can rinse them out and fill them up full of water and change them out at least, I would say, every 6 months to a year. That water does get stagnant, and some people have racks for their barrels. Some people don't. They let them sit on the ground. It's a good idea not to let them sit on the ground, though, just because the temperature variation changes quite a bit.
Well, I've heard that the chemical makeup in the concrete itself breaks down the plastic.
It can. I know the concrete can really affect a battery, like your vehicle battery. So make sure you never store your batteries on the floor. And then, if you get water storage barrels, make sure that you have a way to get the water out, some kind of a pump, things like that. Now, keep in mind the water in the barrels may not strictly be for drinking. It may be for bathing, stuff like that. So you may want to have it reasonably, maybe not warm, but at least room temperature, because taking a bath and or a shower or whatever with cold water sucks.
It's not too bad.
If you got two barrels, you might make one for bathing and one for drinking.
Sure.
That's the one thing that a lot of people don't cover with water is you do have to you try and stay clean. You got to wash your pits and wash all your
the little towelettes.
Well, yeah, you can get those, but that's a lot of those ain't disinfectant either.
That is true. That is true.
So,
you may still stink.
If you end up having to take care of somebody that's bleeding or whatever, you're gonna definitely want to be able to make sure you can clean up.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from water. You always want to have a clean drinking source, no matter what it is. The next thing would be safety. Okay, so for your safety, one of the things that or a couple of the things that we require is weapons. Okay, something that will drive off people that may want to attack you.
Intruders.
And if you're out in the wilderness, it could, like if you're in Alaska, whatever, it could be animals. It could be bears. You could come across a moose on a trail. They could want to charge you.
Sure.
Weapons are a huge part of the prepping part of it. And knives, you got to have knives for several different reasons. For one, defense. 2, it can be used as a tool. 3, cutting down tree limbs, cutting down, even making something to cook things with.
Sure.
An axe or a hatchet is a good thing to have on hand.
Yep.
And, that's one of the things that everybody needs. Rope would be considered safety because you can use it for all kinds of different things, from pulling stuff across the ground, to hanging things up off the ground,
To rappelling, to,
to
tourniquet, to anything.
Yep.
I mean, anything.
Rope is huge, and the knife is there to cut the rope.
Yes.
Another thing that's good for safety would be you make sure you have matches. Make sure you have something that starts a flame. Not necessarily always have to be matches, because if
No, you use magnifying glass. You can use chemical. You can use,
yep,
a lot of different ways.
there, and you use the flame part of it for cooking, making sure that the meat that you get and you harvest is going to be edible. I'm not saying that, not everybody likes cooked meat, but there are people out there that eat
Yes,
rabbits
raw meat.
raw.
Yes.
So, it's always nice to have a warm meal instead of a bloody warm meal.
Exactly. But if you're in the woods, you don't want anybody to know where you're at. You're eating it raw.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
Another thing that you could look at as far as safety, if you're worried about, political or social disruption, gas masks are a good thing because,
Sure.
if cops are coming into buildings and they're shooting tear gas, things like that, gas masks are essential. And, earplugs for flashbangs, stuff like that, and even shooting, earplugs are a good thing. But gas masks are huge, especially if anyone likes to go to these events, even just to spectate. Gas masks are huge because you're not going to get sprayed in the face with pepper spray, and it's going to affect you. It may affect your lenses in it or whatever, but that's easily cleaned. It's not going to affect your body.
You're breathing.
And your breathing. So and you can get gas masks nowadays for
20 bucks.
I got 2 gas masks for $24.
That's
You can
even
get them
better.
online all day long, relatively cheap. They
Yeah.
usually come with new filters. Mine came with 2 sets of filters and 2 lenses for the freaking hair driving my ear nuts. I got 2 lenses with 2 filters, or 2 sets of filters, and a drinking straw that comes out of this stupid thing for $12 a piece.
That's really good.
That's a good price, and they were packaged and they were in sealed containers. And I think I can't remember what country they were used in,
Russian,
but no, they weren't Russian. They were Serbian or something. But they were good gas masks. They sealed well. They felt like they were brand new. They were clean. They weren't dirty. Again, they were in sealed packages, and they weren't that hard to get. So if you do some research, you can find them. Now, they're not full face mask. They cover your face, but you can't wear glasses with them. That's something that if you wear glasses and you need that for your vision, it's a good idea to check out the full face masks. When I used to work for a prison, we had them. They do make them. And, if your vision is poor, you got to research and find the right mask that's going to work for you.
Sure.
So not everybody's going to be running around with contacts. And if you run out of those, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So another thing that kind of goes with safety is, and this is for each and every person's safety, is your maps. You know your routes, know your area, know where it's safe and how quick it takes you to get out of town.
Yep.
And the safest route to do so. Maps are huge, and most people know their area. They know what streets to turn down when they're going to work. Do you know the routes on your way out of town?
Exactly.
Do you know the quickest way to them? Do you know the easiest way to them? And do you know the safest way to them?
If Google Maps is gone, what are you going to do? Have a map.
Do you know how to get to the town next to you?
Just have a map. Yeah, it's going to show you all the side roads, going to show you everything, that you no longer, you can't just look up on your phone. So it's just good to have a map of your state. That's a good idea.
And a compass.
And a compass.
Compass doesn't cost much. I think we got a military grade compass for like $50.
Yeah.
And you may not ever need it, but it's there if you do. And if you know what vehicle you're going to take, like me and my wife have 2 Jeeps. One can be in her vehicle, one can be in mine. Sure. There's always one available.
Sure. So,
and flashlights are huge. And you can get the crank up flashlights.
Those are awesome. Those are so awesome. My kids got them.
Yeah.
They play with them. Yeah.
So, you don't have to carry batteries around for them. Batteries expire, batteries go bad. And if something happens, you're not going to be able to go down to Walmart or Kmart or whatever and get your batteries.
Nope.
So, wind up flashlights, a good idea. You can get wind up radios.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that kind of goes along with the safety aspect of things is making sure you have a handheld radio. That could also be considered a CB. We carry Baofeng handhelds, and you can get them for, I think, $24-$28 a piece. And I actually have extended batteries on mine, so the battery life lasts a little longer. And they fit in my pouches better on my gear. One last thing that would be good for safety would be, bulletproof vest, something that plate carrier. And they make all kinds of different plates for them. They make plates that will go up to 308. Yep. Armor piercing, and they float. That's kind of what I got. They're light. They're only like three pounds a piece. So my plate carrier is pretty light. And, there's all kinds of different stuff out there. You just kind of got to do your research and figure out what you want.
Yes.
Now that we kind of covered that, I want to go on and thank a bunch of people for donating some stuff to a veterans rifle. You heard about that?
I heard about that. I think that is absolutely awesome.
So we have a veteran that's coming back. A buddy of mine reached out to me to see if I could put the word out about building a rifle for a vet. He's coming back from being overseas, and he's going to be getting married. I think it's around the 16th. My buddy's driving down the 16th, so it's probably a little after that, maybe the 18th. And anyway, he doesn't have a rifle on hand. So when you get out of the military, you don't get to keep your weapons. You can keep a lot of other stuff like your clothing and things like that, but you don't get to keep your rifles. So he had rifles, and they got stolen and taken away and everything else while he was overseas.
How'd that happen, by the way?
I'll go into that later. Right. I'm not going to get on here. Relationship problems.
There you go.
Is what that all comes down to.
You ever heard of Jody?
Anyway, so a buddy reached out, and he wanted to build a rifle for his wedding. So I got online, and I posted it up, and the response we got in one night was pretty overwhelming. We had people willing to donate cash. We had people willing to donate AR parts, things like that. And, we had a number of people that did donate cash, which we're going to use for ammo and optics. We had other people that donated an upper. We had another guy who donated a full upper. And then some stocks, some magazines, and a drop-in trigger. So it looks like we're going to end up being able to complete this thing, and we're going to try and put it together next weekend. So once we do that, I'll make sure I post pictures on Facebook and everything. And then once he gets down to the wedding and he's able to give it to the guy, he's going to post pictures on the results and
that's awesome
and everything like that.
I love to hear stuff like that.
Again, with the Patriot movement, it's cool to see everybody kind of come together for a cause like that. And I want to thank everybody that's donated to that. There's been so many, I can't even list everybody by name.
But you know who you are.
If you donated to the cause, we appreciate that. And, we'll make sure that he knows everybody that did it. And if he wants to send a thank you out, he can. But for me, being able to put this together with Justin is a huge deal. So, again, pat yourselves on the back. Thanks for helping out. And I think we need a few little things, but I think I'm going to pick them up myself. I'm going to pick up some springs and basically a trigger kit to get this thing done. That's the only thing we're lacking right now. And I want to send a shout out to Tyler Striegel because he's putting together I think it's a 3x5, if I remember correctly, 3x5 American flag made out of oak, solid oak.
That's cool.
And I think Justin's going to be able to pick that up and take that down there to him as well.
Cool.
I've seen his work. He actually made me a flag not long ago. And the guy does phenomenal work. If you guys are looking to get like a big flag or even a small flag, Tyler does an excellent job and he gets it done pretty quick. Good turnaround on him. So make sure you hit up Tyler Striegel. And it's awesome to see people come together and want to help out a veteran coming back. The guy, just so everybody knows, the guy is a 2-time Purple Heart Award winner. He has been wounded twice in battle. Once from an IED and once from a rocket-propelled grenade. So he's definitely done right by this country.
Well, thank God he's back, and he's back in one piece.
Yeah. The fact that he's still going to be able to walk around and and
Live a life.
enjoy this country that
Yeah.
he helped protect
Exactly.
is huge. So, and this rifle's going to be more than just for him. It's going to give him an opportunity to teach his kid how to shoot.
Exactly. It's going to be passed down to his son, his son's son. That's awesome. That is exactly what you want to hear.
So we got about 10 minutes left.
Oh, we get phone calls.
So let's go ahead and open up the guest line. The number again is 713-955-0158. Let's see if somebody that donated some parts wants to get on and chat with us tonight.
Oh,
Leslie, I posted something up a while ago. You can look on my thing, and the story is there. It's not really a story that's been written up, other than what I've posted. I can fill you in on it if you want to get a hold of me. Again, the number 713-955-0158, and dial a 1 after you dial it. Let's see who's going to call in. You got any callers yet?
anybody?
I think we've raised for the veterans rifle. I think we've raised a little over $300. So that'll end up going to a good optic and some ammo for the guy so he can try it out and shoot it.
Oh yeah.
So I think we're looking at either a Vortex red dot or an aim point or something like that. So the guy's gonna have a nice rifle.
Oh, you didn't get it EOTech? Come on.
Well, we didn't quite raise $900 or $1,000.
Come on, with a magnifier.
Unless somebody wants to donate one.
Come on, we need that ACOG on there. Come on, guys.
we need some night vision.
Yeah, we need night vision, some ACOG.
So we know that this is going to a good cause, and it does my heart good to know that he's going to have something to protect his family with. So
yes,
more power to everybody that donated to that. So
it's actually a great story.
Yeah,
it is a great story with a great ending.
I posted this picture on the post, and so everybody could kind of get a face with the name. Ask everyone to keep Dan in their prayers. He needs them. Okay, everybody pray up for Dan. Who is that anyway?
I don't know. You got the bigger.
Oh yeah,
lagging.
Crystal just posted. The guy that had the heart attack this weekend. His name is Dan. I can't remember his last name. But he does patches for motorcycle groups. He does patches for patriotic groups. He does sewing and stuff like that. So he's been out at the fairgrounds for this event that we went to. He's been out there the last 6 years. And again, he's 71 years old. He was trying to pack up his truck. We jumped in to help him. And right before we left, he went into cardiac arrest. And again, Crystal and everybody busted ass and kept him alive. So
good job, guys.
That's just phenomenal. Okay. We got anybody on? Again, the number 713-955. Carissa. Let's put Carissa on.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, it's Carissa.
What's going on, Carissa?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just getting over that nasty cold that's been going around, so my voice is a little raspy.
No worries. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad I was able to tune in and catch your show.
Oh, well, thank you.
What do you want to talk about tonight, Carissa?
I wanted to thank you personally for doing the thing for the veteran with the gun. As a military mom, I'm sure I have a special attachment to my military family, and I know how special that is. So I want to donate, and I wanted to just talk to you if you guys just want money or do you want things?
Well, it kind of depends. We were asking people that, if they had spare parts, that they could donate them to us. And that's kind of what everybody did. And those who didn't have that, sent money to the PayPal. And we're going to use that for ammo and for the parts that we're short on. So it looks like we've got all the parts covered.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to send $10, $15 or something for ammo, I can hit you up afterward and give you the PayPal address.
Okay, yeah, I can do that, or I can just run it over, because I think PayPal takes a tiny little cut, don't they, when you
Not
send money?
if you have an account, they don't. If you send it to friends and family, and it depends on if you already have an account or if it's coming straight out of your bank. If you
Yeah,
want,
no, I have an
if you want to run it over to me at work, you know where I work, so that's fine as well.
Yeah, okay, that sounds cool. I could do that.
Okay. And then after
Absolutely.
after everything's done, I'll probably do a write up on it. We want to make sure that the thing's working and all that good stuff when he gets it delivered. So I have the cool thing about it is I've got everything kind of saved in my post and on my PayPal. I know who's donated, so I can write up a post and thank everybody.
Sweet. It's really sweet of you to do that for him.
I think it's great.
Very thoughtful.
I think it's great that people donated, and they don't know the guy; they know the story now. But they came together as Americans and decided that they wanted to do this for this guy. So that's what being an American is all about.
Yes. That's exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why we do what we do, and stand up in the streets and stand up online and fight for our country. That's why we uplift our troops. We're Americans.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, Carissa, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. My show's just about to wrap up, so I thank you for calling in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for doing what you do, and thanks. We sure appreciate you.
No problem. It's kind of a labor of love. So be looking here soon because I'm going to start trying to interview vets.
Oh, wonderful. That would be awesome. Yeah.
It's time to get their stories out.
Yeah. We all know tons of them.
Yes, we do.
I can even hook you up with my son if you want. He's an Afghanistan veteran, and he's still active duty.
I'll take anybody. The young ones, the old ones, whoever wants to talk. Some folks have trouble talking about it, but I'm game to talk to anybody.
All right. Yeah, I will. I'll reach out to him and see if he's up for that.
Okay.
And he might be. I don't know. He hardly even talks to me, so I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how he does it with. We'll see if I can coax him out.
But yeah, okay. I'll hook you up with him.
All right. I appreciate it, Carissa.
Yeah, you bet. I'll talk to you soon, hon.
All right. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
So that's about it for the Eagle's Nest this evening. We covered some prepping things. We covered a little bit of the Constitution stuff, the Supreme Court. And, now the thing is with the Supreme Court is we're just going to have to wait and watch, see what cases go in front of them, see how he votes on them to see whether or not this Supreme Court justice was worth all the
chaos.
The chaos over. Yeah, that's a good word for it. So, Well, this is Sherman Tank.
This is douche stuff.
90 seconds.
Oh,
there it kicked
90
in.
seconds.
So we're going to be signing off a little bit early, like a minute and a half early.
You notice we talk when we're not talking so much political. We don't have any problems with the cameras.
Imagine that.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, not a single problem tonight with the feed.
Pretty weird. Pretty weird. Maybe next time we should wear, tinfoil hats.
Well, I'm thinking next time we start with gas masks.
Oh, I want to wear my
I-
dinosaur costume.
So that works.
I got it.
60
As
seconds.
long as we fit behind this table, we're good to go.
Yeah. I don't think I'll fit with the dinosaur costume. It's one of those ones you see on the
Is it
YouTube.
blow up things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it for my kids. So
Might puncture it in here.
with all the weapons.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna sign off.
We're
We
going
love
to
you.
sign off. Thanks for watching. We love you guys.
We'll catch y'all later.
All right.
Bye.
Are we off?
Almost.